Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Joel Rosen. I am the Adrenal Fatigue Recovery Ninja, and today I want to welcome you back to another edition of your Adrenal Fix. Today, we're going to be talking about the overlooked role of chronic infections in HPA Axis dysfunction. So it's a couple of words in there in terms of, number one, what the heck does that mean? So it means that there's chronic infections majority of the time with people that are dealing with exhaustion and stressed out and don't handle their life stressors the same way that they used to, that are going from doctor to doctor and being told that there's nothing wrong with them, that their blood tests are normal, and they are just not dealing with their problem very, very well. They can't sleep. They wake up several times throughout the night, or they don't fall asleep, or they wake up feeling exhausted, or all three of those things. They don't have energy to take on the day. The least little bit of stress puts them in panic or overwhelm or anxiety. They crash, they don't focus, they don't concentrate, and they are not doing very well. That is someone that's dealing with a HPA axis dysfunction or a hypothalamus pituitary adrenal problem, what I like to call an adrenal fatigue problem. A lot of people will say, oh, there's no such thing as adrenal fatigue. We're not really concerned about what the actual nomenclature is. We're concerned the fact that the adrenals are not working the way that they should, and they're subjected to fatigue. Although they're still pumping out a certain amount of cortisol, there's a lot of problems going on here. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. So the things that we're going to talk about are when I'm dealing with people that are exhausted and burnt out and have a laundry list of tests or doctors or supplements that they've gone to, you're doing a lot of things right. You're eating healthy, or what you think is healthy. You're removing certain amounts of foods that could be pathogenic or antigenic or inflammatory producing, stuff like gluten, dairy, corn, sugar, alcohol, grains, and yet you're not feeling any better. And you want to know, what am I missing? That's what we're talking about today. So we're looking at the overlooked role of chronic infections in your HPA axis dysfunction. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is nutritional deficiencies. And even you who eats healthy more than likely has a nutritional deficiency. So why is that? Well, if you think about it, the food source and the quality of the antioxidants in our vitamins and mineral-based foods, our produce, our vegetables, our fruits. Number one, we're not eating as much as we used to. Number two, they're really devoid of optimal amounts of nutrition. And not to mention, if you're eating a lot of what Dr. Marshall from Premier Research Labs used to call white food or sugary foods that are make-believe foods, then you're going to have make-believe health. You really are. And you're going to have nutritional deficiencies. And on top of that, the other thing that's causing nutritional deficiencies is the fact that you're eating these hydrogenated oils. So let me paint you a picture. Let's say you go to Chipotle, or let's say you go to a fresh kitchen or a fresh market or a Whole Foods or a healthy alternative that you think is healthy. The problem is they're using vegetable oils or hydrogenated oils or highly heated oils or rancid oils or highly heated foods. And what happens is it causes those particular foods to demand your nutritional secretions from your hydrochloric acid, your digestive enzymes, your lipases, and all of those things that your gallbladder squishes, your pancreas squishes, your small intestine squishes, your stomach squishes. All these juices, they're depleted. And when they're depleted, even if the food is good quality, you're getting nutritional deficiencies because that food is sitting there and it's rotting and it's fermenting and it's creating leaky gut. And that leaky gut is causing food sensitivities, and that's causing free radicals. And when you have free radicals, it causes your cells to oxidize, your cell membranes to oxidize. And if you're eating rancid or highly treated or highly heated or oxidized or really crappy oils, that's also going to break down your cell membranes. And free radicals are just going to burst open and create a lot of aging, grayness of hair, breaking down. And yet you think you're eating healthy and you think that you're getting good nutrition. Those are the little small changes that you have to make. The other thing we wanted to talk about are excitotoxins. So with excitotoxins, these are things like glutamate or MSG or aspartame or anything that's a natural flavor. You know, the problem with these natural flavors is they're excitotoxic, is they are neurotoxic, and they're everywhere. You get, you know, your frappuccinos that have the toasted almond, or the, you know, the cinnamon dolce, or you have all of these creamers that have like pumpkin spice or whatever it is. What do you think is in there? And especially if it's reduced sugar or it's no sugar, those excitotoxins are bombarding your cells. So you get this nutritional deficiency, which is causing free radical buildup because you don't have enough antioxidants to squelch or put out the fires. Then you have all of these excitotoxins in the foods that you're eating, and that's bombarding the cell. And what happens is it's a vicious cycle. Free radicals causes the cell, the mitochondrial damage, which is now that much more sensitive to these excitotoxins that are everywhere. That's causing the cell to be overstimulated. And this is where you're in sympathetic fight or flight. You can't focus, you can't concentrate, you can't sleep, you can't handle stressors. You're a basket case. And then what do you typically do? You'll take some neurotransmitters supporting medications. Maybe you'll take some benzodiazepines, or maybe you'll take some GABA support, and then that's going to make the problems even worse. Real big problems. And ultimately what happens is it impacts your hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal axis. So what ultimately happens is your body secretes a lot of cortisol. Cortisol is trying to reduce inflammation. And then ultimately the nutritional deficiencies and the free radical damage doesn't allow you to have proper signaling, proper communication, proper breakdown, proper utilization, and good quality hormone. I mean, that's what's happening. And then on top of that, you have methylation issues. So we have an MTHFR problem. Or don't worry, Dr. Joel, I don't have MTHFR. But you have all these things, and you have COMT or MTR or MTRR. And why is that important? Well, let's talk about this. We're talking about the overlooked role of chronic infections. If you have nutritional deficiencies and free radical buildup and excitotoxins and bombardment of the cell and an HPA axis that's going crazy because of all of that, then you need proper methylation, which needs proper nutritional status and reduced inflammation and good antioxidant production and less excitotoxins to work properly, whether you have an MTHFR problem or not. And if you're not methylating properly, then you're not turning off the expression of a virus or of a chemical or of a pesticide or a heavy metal. And when I say turning off the expression, you're not able to do anything with it. You're not able to stomp it out like a cigarette butt and extinguish it. Or you're not able to methylate it, to deactivate it and conjugate it and get it out of your body. So now all of a sudden you're dealing with overwhelm. And here you are going gluten-free. Here you are going dairy-free. Here you are going to your doctor and they're telling you your blood work looks perfect and there's nothing wrong. What's wrong with that picture? So yeah, that's kind of fired through that. I wanted to go over the role of chronic infection in HPA axis dysfunction. So what kind of infections? We're talking about viruses. We're talking about Epstein-Barr virus and cytomegalovirus and HPV virus or HHV virus. We're talking about even Lyme disease, or we're talking about, how is it that pathogens such as Lyme and Epstein-Barr can be taken? You know what? I'm not crazy about this new way of doing this through the Beelive because I can't really tell what the questions are. I don't see them here. Sorry about that. It kind of pops up for 2 seconds and then I don't see where the actual comments are. I'm so sorry about that. I don't see where it is. There was a question there for 2 seconds, but now it's not there. It was something about how is it that Epstein-Barr virus and Lyme disease, and then that's all I got. So let me see if I can get that to come back up. Show. Let's see, show. How is it that pathogens such as Lyme and Epstein-Barr can be taken care of by the immune system by someone and not others? Well, it kind of talks about what we're talking about. Some people have less nutritional deficiencies. Some people don't get exposed to neurotoxins and excitotoxins. Some people have less stressors. Some people have, tap the screen, some people have genetic susceptibilities. And that's a great question, because I do see people that are carriers of Epstein-Barr virus, but they're not really a expressor of an Epstein-Barr virus. And why is that? Well, a lot of things. I mean, they have better nutritional status. They're getting good quality nutrients. Maybe they don't have a stressful job or a stressful marriage, or maybe they don't live in a chemically laden house with formaldehydes and glues and particle boards and a bunch of different stuff that's impacting them. Or maybe they never got exposed to black mold, or maybe they don't have a parasite, or maybe they don't have children that are demanding their time and energy, all of these things. So hopefully that made sense to you. So you said tap screen. So let me see if I can get more questions. I'm trying to tap the screen. Okay. What can a person do for good health if they are on immune suppressant medications like Celicep? Well, don't get on the immune suppressing medication in the first place. Everything we've talked about here, right? Keep it basic. Get good quality nutrients. Get fermentable foods, because if you're getting fermentable foods, your body doesn't have to work to digest it, because all of the digestive nutrients are in there for you to absorb it right away. And then what I would be looking at doing is getting good quality air, getting good quality water, getting good quality, relationships. All of those things are going to help your immune system. And then there are immune modulating nutrients like resveratrol or green tea or polyphenols or, some of the olive root or propolis. There's a lot of immune support that you can get. How is it that pathogens, so we already answered that question. Hopefully we answered most of your questions here. The overlooked role of chronic infection in the HPA axis dysfunction, in my opinion, is what's not happening or is not being addressed when you go to the traditional doctor and they do the traditional testing and they try to get an idea as to what's going on. And even, it's amazing, because even I had a patient today who's a nurse, and she even told me that she had a couple of markers that were elevated beyond the lab range. And even the doctor said, I don't care about that. It's not a big deal. I mean, at what point does it have to be a problem? It's just unfortunate. So there are testing that we do with these. You can do a lot of, you can do some oxidative stress testing. You can do neurotransmitter testing. You can do HPA Axis testing, methylation testing. But the problem is insurance doesn't pay for these a lot of the time. And so what we look for is we look for people that are going to get resourceful, that realize I got to get this problem fixed now, because if I don't, the cost of me not fixing this is way more expensive than the cost that I got to pay to fix it. And if that's who you are, then make sure that you click on the link that I'll give you to do a no charge 45-minute consult with me to discuss where you are with your health, what's working, what's not working, what you've done, where you want to be. And I'll tell you straight out, hey, I think I can help you, or no, I don't think I can help you. And that's what I want to do. I want to stack the card in my favor to make sure I get a good, successful outcome. There was one more question that I had on here was, where is it? Are FOOT2 genes important? Of course they are. It talks about the relationship between helping with prebiotic health into probiotic health. So it really kind of looks at how well is your fertilizers growing into good, healthy vegetation and a good ecosystem. How good of a job is it doing there? If it's doing a great job, then you're going to have great chemical messengers, you're going to have great B vitamin utilization, great methylation, which is responsible for over 250 cellular activities in the body, like breaking and making tissues. It's pretty important for sure. Can you recommend a way to counteract adrenaline surges brought on by methylation issues and viruses? So I'm going to read that one more time. Can you recommend a way to counteract adrenaline surges brought on by methylation issues and viruses? So I don't know if I would look at it as adrenaline surges. And the reason why I say that is because I'm going to flip your paradigm for a second. And let's say you have nutritional deficiencies, free radical buildup, excitotoxins, HPA Axis dysfunction, and methylation issues. My guess is that you don't necessarily have adrenaline surges. You have adrenaline, you have the lack of ability to create optimal amounts of adrenaline. So you're sputtering. Adrenaline sputtering. That's probably a better way to look at it. So you need B2, B6, PABA, pantothenic acid. You need all of those things to be able to make proper adrenaline. And if you're not making proper adrenaline, it's going to be like a broken clutch. Whenever you have a need to produce adrenaline, you're going to not handle it properly, and you're going to get anxious and overwhelmed and panic stricken. And then all of a sudden you're defining that as adrenaline surges. And I'm like, I don't think that's adrenaline surges. I think that's adrenaline inadequacies. And so it's sort of a semantics in terms of, hey, well, just answer the question. Well, number one, understand what's actually happening, and that's probably happening. So what does that mean? Well, how can I fix that? Please answer my question. Well, you get nutritional deficiency status better, you reduce free radicals, you help repair your cell membranes, you help reduce the exposures to excitotoxins, you help with HPA feedback mechanics, which there's so many things for that, and you look at your methylation. So a couple more questions here. Who should avoid tyrosine, COMT or an MAOA? So again, I think I know who's asking these questions. So again, I don't like the quality of the question. I'm sorry, I'm nitpicking here, but tyrosine is potentially. It's not so much that you should avoid tyrosine. What happens if you're iron deficient? Or what happens if you're not making biopterin because of an MTHFR issue and you take tyrosine? It's not so much that it's the tyrosine's problem. It's the fact that you don't have the other cofactors. Or what happens if you're not repairing your cell membranes and there's no receptor sites and you're concluding that it's tyrosine? Or what happens if you don't have COMT and you take tyrosine and it makes you feel worse? Or what happens if you have COMT and you take tyrosine and it makes you feel better? Or what happens if you have MAOA and all of the above? So I don't like the sort of the reductionistic approach of tyrosine and COMT, yes, tyrosine and no COMT, no. It just doesn't work that way. You have to understand all of the mechanics. Hopefully that makes sense. I thought I should try phenylalanine, tyrosine, etc., to make up for FUT2. Depending. I mean, if I've talked to you and I've looked at your organic acid test and we decided that that was a good way to go, even still, what we see on paper is different than what we see in reality. Meaning, hey, I think that this is the way we should go, and then you try it and you don't do well. And then is it the conclusion of the things that we tried that didn't work? Maybe not. Maybe we took too much of it. Or maybe it was a day that we didn't need it. Or maybe it was a day that we should have done a little bit more. It just depends. So as long as we understand the game plan and understand the lay of the land, understand the blueprint, understand the epigenetics, and understand what it is that we want to try, what you've tried in the past, and put that on a hierarchy and try to go forward and develop that game plan, then I don't know if I can say I thought this or I thought that. I thought that something would have worked, and then I found out that it didn't. And now we have to sort of put our Sherlock Holmes hat on and figure out what happened. and not just broadly conclude that, well, I got to cross that off. That didn't work. Well, wait a minute. Maybe there was other things going on. So anyways, I hope that was helpful for you guys. I'll try to do a couple of these things, a couple days a week. Hello, I'm 49 years old and I'm premenopausal plus have insomnia. I know my hormones is probably off balance. Do you know what can help me? Okay, so I'm going to read it one more time. So it says, hello, I'm 49 years old and I'm premenopausal. Plus, I think you might be meaning to say you're perimenopausal, where you're sort of on that cusp of having, your cycles be shortened or lengthened or erratic or here, there, everywhere. And plus I have insomnia. And I know my hormones are probably off balance. Do you know what can help me? It's too broad. I mean, there's a lot of things that can help you. They're, getting your nutritional deficiencies eliminated, reducing free radical damage, trying to you get good quality nutrients. All of these things are going to help you. Don't look for the shiny object of what is actually, of if there's a sort of like a bulletproof recipe of just take this, take that. A lot of the times it comes to boring, good old fashioned, holistic foods, stress, good control, quality air, quality water, quality nutrients, and not trying to do too much. I mean, I'd be looking at that. I'd want to look at your cholesterol status. I'd want to look at your insulin status. I'd want to look at your glucose status. I'd want to look at your, iron status. I'd want to look at your hormones through your blood, your saliva, your urine. I'd want to look at your genetic status. I'd want to look at all that stuff. So you're welcome. I hope that was helpful. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed today's Facebook Live. Make sure that you comment in terms of what topics you guys want me to talk about. And then we can talk about those topics and give you some insight. So anyways, my name is Dr. Joel Rosen. I am the Adrenal Fatigue Recovery Ninja, and I look forward to ending your overlooked role of chronic infections in your HPA Axis dysfunction. Have a great night.